supposed to feel.
Your one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible! A very good evening, welcome to Champions League Live as we continue the first legs of the round of 16 this midweek, and already 5 of our 8 first legs are done and dusted. 3 more to come, and they will all kick off in the next few minutes across the continent. Already, as I said, in the round of 16, Galatasaray beat Liverpool by a goal to nil yesterday. Bayern Munich 6-1 winners against Atalanta. Atletico Madrid putting 5 past Tottenham Hotspur, who scored 2 of their own there in Madrid. Newcastle-Barcelona finished 1-1 after that late Barcelona penalty. And similarly, Bayer Leverkusen took the lead and were leading in that one earlier this afternoon before Arsenal's late penalty through Kai Havertz rescued a draw for the Gunners to take back to the Emirates when it comes to next Tuesday. So 6 days time for these teams between now and the return legs. But it gets even more exciting at 8 o'clock in the 3 late games on tonight's round of 16 action. Bodo Glimt taking on Sporting. That's in Norway, of course. Here in our feature game, Paris Saint-Germain taking on Chelsea. And we'll also keep a very, very close eye on the action in Madrid as Real take on Manchester City. And they've met, countless times in the Champions League over the last few years, Real Madrid and Manchester City. But what will the next chapter of that fierce rivalry feel and kind of produce when it comes to those two teams later this evening? But all action at the Parc des Princes is our feature game this evening as the European champions PSG look to defend their trophy against 2-time winners Chelsea, who went on to win the competition back in 2021, and they want to have those sorts of targets in their sights come this time the end of the season. And Liam Rosenior believes that his team are good enough to compete. And let's see. European champions knocked out English opposition in the round of 16 last year at PSG. They lost in the first leg at home against Liverpool before winning at Anfield on penalties. It will be quite similar this time round, but will it have the same result for the European champions in defence of their title? They defeated 3 English sides en route to the final last year, and their first knockout round for Paris Saint-Germain sees them take on, once again, an English opponents. As they arrive onto the field from the tunnel, let's have a look at the two teams for tonight's game, starting with the home side, PSG. Well, Sofanov is in goal with Chevalier benched for this one, so Safanov is in goal. Hakimi, Marquinhos the captain, Pacho and Mendes are a very strong back four, the back four that won this competition last season with Paris Saint-Germain. Vitinha is in midfield alongside João Neves and Warren Zaire-Emery in that midfield three, with Bradley Barcola, Desiré Doué and Ousmane Dembele, a trio to be feared by any defence in Europe. On the bench for the hosts, Chevalier, Marin, Beraldo, Zabarni, Hernandez, Lee, Mayulu, Fernandez, Kvaratskhelia, Ramos and Mbaye. For the Travellers, Chelsea, well, also changing goal for the Blues. Philip Jorgensen starts in goal with Robert Sanchez benched, but we saw how a London club failed when they used their sub-goalkeeper last night in Europe. A back four of Malo Gusto, Wesley Fofana, Trevor Chalobah and Marc Cucurella. Reece James, the captain, is in midfield alongside Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, with Cole Palmer and Pedro Neto the wingers and João Pedro leading the Chelsea line. On the bench for Liam Senior's side, Sanchez, Merrick, Tosin, Badiashile, Sarr, Hato, Achiampong, Santos, Lavia, Delap, Guiu and Garnacho. Lots of options off the bench if needs be, and a lot of them played in the FA Cup at the weekend, so a lot of them will be getting that well-deserved rest. But it is still a very strong side for Chelsea, but a very tough task of trying to see off the European champions. PSG against Chelsea. Kickoff is next. A very good evening. Welcome to Champions League Live for our second night of round of 16 action. Over the next 2 weeks, we will cut 16 teams down to 8 in the Champions League, and these two will be fierce battlers for that place in the quarter-finals. The winner of this one, of course, will face either Liverpool or Galatasaray in the quarter-finals. It could be a rematch of last season's knockout game between PSG and Liverpool, or an all-English battle, or Galatasaray, who continue to upset quite a few European teams this season. They could do it the same. But these two, one of them will progress, and who will take the first big step to progression tonight in the French capital to try and give themselves an advantage to take to Stamford Bridge in 6 nights' time. Elsewhere, as I said, Real Madrid taking on Manchester City, and that is another huge game, and we'll keep a very, very close eye on that one beside us, because it was a real difficult one to decide between these two games. Of course, a lot of people would have expected Real Madrid, Manchester City, of course, but when the European champions are on, you have to watch, and that is exactly what we're going to do. But we'll, of course, keep you right up to date with the other games and any updates as and when they happen. A night not to be missed. Late drama in our game yesterday evening between Newcastle and Barcelona. Both goals coming late. Harvey Barnes thought he won it for Newcastle before Barcelona, through Lamine Yamal, converted a late penalty. And already late action already in the Champions League today, with Arsenal's late penalty securing them a draw to take back to their home stadium. Will we get drama throughout? I would say so, in this one between PSG and Chelsea. We're about to get underway. PSG in kind of a strange looking kit, I have to say. Well, they're underway and they get us going, PSG. You gotta say though, whoever it is that faces PSG, they have an ultimate task of trying to knock out the team that looked to do what many teams couldn't really, and that's defend their title and win this competition back to back. It's hard enough to win it once. PSG know that more than quite a lot of teams in Europe. When you win it once, you become the hunted, and Chelsea will be keen on hunting this European giant. And the Chelsea side, as I said, who've actually won more Champions League titles than PSG. 2 of their own, Chelsea, the most recent coming in 2021. And they won the final against Manchester City, of course. It's black v white tonight because PSG in that weird kind of different looking kit. And Chelsea in all white this evening, so very distinctive between the two sets of players. Here's Nuno Mendes. Willian Pacho. Back to Marquinhos. Finds Achraf Hakimi. Zaire Emery linking up with Desiree Doué with the ball's gone out of play there. It will be a PSG throw. Just trying to get rid of it wherever they can there, Chelsea. Not allow PSG early rhythm. Underway in every other game across these late kickoffs. A very keen battle taking place in Madrid at the Bernabeu between Manchester City and Real. One to really have a keen eye on, I have to say, this evening. Very much a keen eye. And of course, one thing that the English sides do have, and a few of them do have, was that they will have the second legs at home. Arsenal will, Liverpool will, Chelsea will, Manchester City will, Spurs will. The only English side to not have a second leg at home is Newcastle. So 5 of the 6 English teams will all be heading home next week. And at the moment, as it stands, none of them will have an advantage to take back. They will all be either level pegging or behind going into their second legs. Can Chelsea or Manchester City change that? Nicely nipped away by the midfielder PSG. Here's João Neves. Back to Vitinha, now Marquinhos. To Warren Zaire Emery. Plays it across to Vitinha. Going to break forward here. The Portuguese. Down the left comes to Mendes. Fired into the path of Hakimi there. Very far forward and very central. And the offside flag going up there against Bradley Barcola on the left hand side. Chelsea playing the offside trap well in the early moments. PSG with the majority of the ball at the Bernabeu. Goalless in the early moments between Chelsea and Real Madrid and Manchester City, and Madrid trying to get their press, with City trying to hold more of the ball. Just keeping an eye on that one. See there, Reece James's cross for Chelsea. Come off the left boot of João Pedro. Yeah, he just kind of flicks it. Sliced across goal. No real danger there ultimately though, but an opportunity for Liam Senior. Of course he knows PSG very well. Senior has played against them with Strasbourg, of course. And back in October, they drew 3-3 here to Strasbourg. They've won it back here. PSG, Ousmane Dembele. Cleared away there by Cucurella. Now, shot from range by João Neves is into the hands of Jorgensen. See it here, Neves not afraid to shoot from range. And the bounce just carried it into Philip Jorgensen's hands, but fired effort by João Neves. As I was saying, at PSG in Strasbourg, under the management of Liam Senior back in October, it was 3-3 here. Great result for Strasbourg. They were actually 3-1 up in the game before PSG rescued a draw. So he knows how to get something out of this game in Paris. And actually beat PSG back at the end of last season 2-1 in Strasbourg. So that's a positive response against PSG. Chelsea corner. Headed it behind at the front post. Gusto got something to that, but it was a follow through. Carried it behind for another corner. I think it was Vitinha. Got his head to that at the front post. Another Chelsea corner. Now for the delivery. Up and off the hand of Safonov. And Hakimi trying to flip it over the top, looking for the run of Desiree Doué, who took the touch but couldn't keep his feet firmly on the ground and lost his balance there, the Frenchman. That's the worry as well for Chelsea. Pace on the counter-attack. That's what makes PSG so dangerous, albeit they can dominate you, they can pass you to death, but they're also a team that inspire really good breakaways in transition. Desiree Doué and Bradley Barcola, they can slice away through you with ease. As Pacho does really well, guides it back to his goalkeeper. They may not be impenetrable this season, PSG. They actually lost their most recent game at home to Monaco last midweek. Lost 3-1. Actually trailed that game 2-0 and then 3-1. Only goal coming from Bradley Barcola in the second half. The damage was more or less done by that point. Albeit they still lead Ligue 1 by a point against Lens. 57 to 56 points. PSG have that 1 point gap. Nice little 1-2 between Zaire Emery and Hakimi, who holds on to the ball here. Ashraf Hakimi, but runs into Marc Cucurella. Although the referee is just going to pull it back for the earlier foul on Hakimi by Enzo Fernandez. That's going to be a PSG free kick. See that punch from Safonov. Nicely done. A little earlier from that Chelsea corner. Speaking of corners, it is a Real Madrid corner at the Bernabeu. Free kick here for PSG as well. At the back to pass. Alexander-Arnold's delivery. Headed and cleared away. Free kick taken short by Vitinha. Hakimi measured it in behind. Doué clips it across. Headed back across by Dembele, but no one on the end of it, and Pacho keeps it alive. Nuno Mendes. Drifting through in the heavy touch as he arrived. Oh, he's won it back. Couldn't get a shot off there, Barcola. Mendes wins it back again. Chelsea under the cosh a little bit here. Hakimi. Lovely little flick. Finds it to Doué. Doué wide to Dembele. Dembele's cross deep. Headed down. Barcola gives the European champions the lead. He scored here for PSG in the league during the week. And now, this week, he has given Paris Saint-Germain the lead against Chelsea in the Champions League. Great start for the European champions. And great quality all over the pitch there. Working it into the right position. And Bradley Barcola unleashing a rocket of an effort. Underside the crossbar it in. Again, really nicely worked. Dembele just flicks it to the back post. Guided down by João Neves. And then the shot deserves a stage of its own for Bradley Barcola. The chest down and the fired rocket off the underside of the crossbar. Unsavable for Philip Jorgensen. That is beautiful from Bradley Barcola. Perfect start for PSG. Not the start that Chelsea would have wanted by any stretch. And already find themselves a goal down. But they've been Really out-muscled so far, Chelsea, giving away some really poor possession. That's a ball for Barcola to chase, but his opposite number there, Wesley Fofana, is just going to usher that one out for a throw. As I said about that pace, but this time it was just about patience rather than pace, and using their quality in the right areas. And Dembele just drifted wide. He was the one that was measured in the cross, and João Neves with the guided header cushioned it back across for Barcola, who unleashed his quality. And that's lovely little interchange of play, and Barcola's in again here for PSG. Tried to cut back and was beaten to it on that occasion by Malo Gusto. Chelsea are really under some insane pressure early doors. A quick glance over to the game in Madrid. Still goalless between Real Madrid and Manchester City. Man City pressing Real Madrid everywhere, and Madrid hampering up possession there on that occasion. It's PSG trying to be penned in by Chelsea. Under no worries though. Marquinhos finds Desiree Doué. And to Zaire Emery, who Desiree Doué felt it was foul, but the referee said play on. Vitinha down the line to Barcola, who tackled well by Palmer. Trying to go for the little 1-2 with Pedro Neto, but not seen any way through there. Cole Palmer throw into Chelsea. Well, it is his first Champions League goal of the season for Bradley Barcola. In terms of his all-round numbers this season, it's 11 goals in all competitions, 10 in the league and now 1 in the Champions League. Very much a league scorer. Of course, all of his goals had come in the league this season up until tonight. And that's now 3 games in a row that he's found the net, Bradley Barcola, so he's hitting a real ripe run of form. Including he scored the winner against Le Havre at the end of February. Oh, and a bit of pressure here for PSG to deal with. Gusto finds Enzo Fernandez, who couldn't keep his shot down. Wasted it. Again, nicely measured run by Malo Gusto. Cuts it back and then lays it to Enzo Fernandez, who hits the box, just closes the angle down on himself and leans back. And just carries it well over the crossbar. Ultimately a disappointed shot for Enzo Fernandez. Space here for PSG. Zaire Emery feeds this one wide. Hakimi's got Akers in front of him. Now finds Doué down the touchline. Back to João Neves. Marquinhos. Dembele coming deep to get involved in the build-up. Now Nuno Mendes. Ousmane Dembele. Right to the left-hand side for Barcola. Back to Dembele, who waits for the return ball. Holds it up nicely. Doué comes across to help out. So that front three all within about 5-6 yards of each other. Here is Doué. Wide on the left. Plays it into Dembele. Takes a little touch and a shot. And it's forced onto the crossbar by Jorgensen. Patience turns into pounce from PSG. And Jorgensen has to throw it onto his own crossbar to stop another rocket from PSG. Beautiful from Ousmane Dembele. Of course, the current Ballon d'Or holder. Carried his team to that European champions status last summer. Listen, a lot of these French players are not only thinking about domestic and club honours, they've got the sights of the world's biggest trophy, football's biggest trophy, in the summer as well. Gotta say, if you want to be a Ballon d'Or winner, history suggests you need to win the Champions League or win the World Cup. Some could still do both. Dembele, fabulous. The little kind of footwork just to shuffle his way around Wesley Fofana with such ease, Ousmane Dembele, and then absolutely rifle an effort towards goal. Just the change of kind of only pace, but it's the way he uses feet, from delicate feet to absolutely kind of rampant in a split second. Certainly one of the best in Europe at the moment, Ousmane Dembele, who's gone on to have another amazing season. Of course, we talked so often last season about how incredible his scoring form was for PSG, albeit it's not anywhere near the heights that he had last season, but 11 goals across the campaign is below his standards, but continues to be such an impactful player in big games for PSG. And one thing you can't throw at him is that he doesn't create. He does create a lot of chances too. Here's Pedro Neto! Safonov, what has he done there? And he gets away with it, but Pedro Neto, he's a man who's got pace. That was lovely by Chelsea. And Neto and Marquinhos, I mean, that's a mismatch if I've ever seen one. Marquinhos does just enough, and then the cutback from Pedro Neto comes off the face of Nuno Mendes, and ultimately Safonov kind of gathers. But Chelsea showing themselves a threat now. First real clear-cut opportunity for the Blues tonight, and the referee going to give a free kick there on Vitinha, followed by Moises Caicedo. Last night, our game was the last game to get a goal in it. Tonight, our game is the first game to get a goal in it. Still goalless elsewhere in the other two games in the Champions League tonight. Bodo Glimt taking on Sporting after their incredible comeback, Bodo Glimt, and their result against Inter Milan in the knockout playoffs, if you remember. And facing Sporting, really difficult side, and if I'm not mistaken, the only Portuguese side left in the competition are Sporting after Benfica's departure. And also still goalless, as I mentioned as well, in the Bernabeu between Real Madrid and Manchester City. Shot there from Bernardo Silva, zipped just wide of the Real Madrid left post. A very competitive game there, as you would expect in Madrid. So far, both sides having a good go at each other. Big chance there for Bernardo Silva, as Cole Palmer was just caught there by Ousmane Dembele. Big chance here for Madrid. They're in behind. Real Madrid. Fede Valverde's rounded the goalkeeper. And Real Madrid lead by a goal to nil. One long ball. Fede Valverde off the right-hand flank rounds the Manchester City goalkeeper. And it's Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 0. And once again, like last night, English teams not quite cutting it in Europe so far. PSG 1, Chelsea 0 here. And Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 0 in Madrid. Well, here come Chelsea to try and throw a response at PSG, cleared away by a couple of headers to the edge of the box. I have to say, though, that Real Madrid goal is quite beautiful. I mean, Thibaut Courtois with this unbelievable distribution. Fede Valverde, that cute little touch to take him around Donnarumma, and then finds it into the far netting. Beautiful. Beautiful. And the current champions lead an English team, and the record champions lead an English team. 20 minutes gone, and we're 1-0 up here. They're 1-0 up. PSG are 1-0 up against Chelsea. Well, PSG and Chelsea last faced each other in the Champions League in the last 16 of the 2015-16 season, and PSG won both legs 2-1 on those occasions. Now, of course, they did meet in the Club World Cup last summer, and Chelsea absolutely kind of destroyed PSG in that game in the final. 3-0 winners, all 3 goals coming in the first half of that game for Chelsea. 2 from Cole Palmer, 1 from João Pedro, and Cole Palmer got the assist for the third. And they absolutely thrashed the European champions, and Chelsea become the world champions as a result. Albeit I don't like to use that. I mean, world champions, it was enjoyable to watch at times. You got to see some teams you don't usually watch from around the world, but it was a money grab tournament, really. A money grab tournament by FIFA. What else would it be? Anyway, moving on. And of course, that was a very different Chelsea side under a different manager. Liam Senior is the man in charge who wants to win trophies. That's what he said. It's all about success at Chelsea Football Club, but haven't really been tasting the top of European football or the top of domestic football in quite a few years. Liam Senior's job was to try and return Chelsea to that pedestal. But here comes Cole Palmer down the right hand side. Chelsea have got it going a little bit in the last few minutes. Palmer cuts it back to Enzo Fernandez, who's wrestled away by João Neves, who's stolen away from Cole Palmer. Now Neto feeds it in behind. Cucurella has gone unmarked. Cucurella's whip cross headed on and into the hands of Safonov from João Pedro. Yeah, cut back by Cucurella, and João Pedro just leaning back to get his head to that. And it just kind of bounces it towards Safonov with very little pace or power on it. I have to say, the last few minutes though, Chelsea have picked up the pace and looked a little bit more threatening since PSG have taken that early lead. And inside 10 minutes they could have made it 2-0 PSG with Ousmane Dembele's effort. But Chelsea in the last few minutes have found a bit of their own rhythm. Here is Barcola. Marquinhos. Beautiful switch ball. Finds Bradley Barcola, who's doing keepy-ups on the sideline there. Plays it in field. Finds Desiree Doué breaking into the box. Doué wants to have a go. Well, it's blocked there by Fofana, I think that was. Now Malo Gusto trying to break away from Warren Zaire-Emery's press. Gusto does well. Chested by João Pedro, but that ball from Reece James is hit right at Marquinhos, who will recycle for his team. A little bit impatient there from Chelsea. Good clearance by Gusto, but just needed to take stock a little bit and carry themselves up the field, and they've given it away again. Here's Barcola. Chaps inside, wants to go himself this time. Barcola! Just wide again. He's been the main threat all night so far, and he almost could have had his second of the night. Lovely footwork again. Makes the defender think he's going one way, then skips back the other way and unleashes another effort, this time a curling effort, and takes a touch off Jorgensen to carry it wide. But the effortless nature of that sort of finish as PSG take the corner short. Hakimi recycles it to the edge of the box. João Neves. Hakimi. Dembele wide. Dembele, this time another deep cross, this time a lot deeper than the first, and very, very deep. Out for a Chelsea throw on the far side. One thing I have to say, PSG are very entertaining to watch, even though they might not have the best defence in the world. They certainly excite you when you watch them. That's an unbelievable football team to me. Of course, I'm not saying that they're terrible defensively. I mean, they've got great defensive players. None other than the veteran Marquinhos. But they've got a good mix. I think we said that last season, in the fact that I don't know if I remember putting PSG as my dark horses to win the Champions League, and I think I kind of put it down as the fact that, you know, they've that mix of real experience and young exuberance, and it was ultimately the young exuberance that flew them to the Champions League and absolutely dumping Inter Milan in the final. It was a whole category of youngsters winning that game for PSG 5-0. Here's Cole Palmer under pressure and well won back by Nuno Mendes. He came across to help out. Oh, Mendes there, just run out of room. Another goal in Madrid, and I'm about to just see it. The ball bobbles in behind. It's Fede Valverde again. Beautiful ball by Vinicius Jr. Great timed run by Fede Valverde. Oh! Just as I was about to say about Real Madrid's goal, Chelsea have found a goal. All happening. And Malo Gusto has given Chelsea a leveller. From nowhere, Chelsea are on terms. See it here from the throw-in that Nuno Mendes gave away a few minutes ago. Just flicked across Enzo Fernandez. No one tracking the run of Malo Gusto into the box. Well flicked in, and Gusto takes the touchdown. Has the strike. Safonov probably should do better, the goalkeeper. Yeah, just flicks up off his right hand and into the back of the PSG net. 1-1. And you got to say Chelsea are worth it. I got to say they've responded really well to going behind, and they've found a leveller. Well, these two games exciting us for very different reasons. So PSG 1, Chelsea 1. As I was saying about Real Madrid, they're now 2-0 up against Manchester City. And that second goal, like the first, was scored by Fede Valverde. This time it was Vinicius Jr.'s ball down the left-hand side, in behind. Beautifully timed run by Valverde through the middle. Dragged himself out to the left and struck well across Donnarumma's goal to double Real Madrid's lead. And cooed the team that really couldn't battle themselves amongst the best last season, Real Madrid, who had an off-season, which is rare by their standards. Could they be back? And very often, when they beat Manchester City, they very often go on and do and complete the whole lot. Of course, that's a long way off as it stands, and right now, still very much early in the first leg, but in both games, a lot of action has unfolded so far. Zaire Emery to Doué. Now what have PSG got in response as Doué just fouled there, right on the touchline, and the referee just wants a chat here with the man who committed the foul, Enzo Fernandez. The referee Alejandro Hernandez from Spain. It's all happening. Gotta love it though. There was a VAR check as well in over in Bodo, between Bodo Glimt and Sporting. Bodo have been on top in that game, really putting it on Sporting early doors in that one. Still no goals, and we'll let you know if anything changes in that one up in the Arctic Circle. So far here it's all square at the Parc des Princes between PSG and Chelsea. Bradley Barcola giving PSG the lead. They had one or two chances of their own to go further ahead. PSG, Ousmane Dembele, and Barcola getting in on the action too as well after that opening goal. Before Chelsea find their leveller through Malo Gusto. As I said, it's probably deserved for Chelsea in the fact that they've had a good last 10 minutes, and despite one or two opportunities for PSG, Chelsea have also nominally threatened the European champions. That's a little bit sloppy, but they will win the throw though, Chelsea. You see that shot from Fede Valverde for the second goal. Beautifully accurate shot to beat Gigi Donnarumma. Long kick by Zaire Emery. Only to clear the ball though. All the way back with the Chelsea goalkeeper, Philip Jorgensen. Well, Safonov, the PSG goalkeeper, who probably should have done better for that Chelsea goal and probably should have made the save, has been the first choice goalkeeper for PSG for quite a few weeks. Came in to the starting lineup against Rennes here back at the start of December, and PSG won 5-0 and hasn't really looked back since then. Albeit had an absolute howler in Monaco, albeit with PSG's 3-2 victory in Monaco in the first leg of the knockout playoffs, but played the return leg, drew 2-2 and progressed to this stage, and has seen off a couple of wins as well in more recent times in the last few games. Chelsea give it away a little cheaply here in a dangerous area. Can PSG profit? Hakimi down the right. Doué comes to the wide right, finding Hakimi, who finds Doué again. Good combination. Pacho breaking forward. Lays it out to Nuno Mendes. Down the left-hand side comes Ousmane Dembele. That's a reverse ball by Nuno Mendes, but no one in PSG colours on the end of it. And sails all the way through to Philip Jorgensen. Well, it's been a dominant possession-based first half for PSG, 59% to 41 in their favour. 5 shots apiece though between the sides, and ultimately Chelsea have probably had the better of it when it comes to big chances. But they've actually had less shots on target than PSG. They've had 4 to Chelsea's 2 so far, so PSG testing the Chelsea goalkeeper, but not able to find a way past them more than once so far in the first 34 minutes. Both sides having a good go, which is exactly what you want to see. Too many times now in Europe we're all about just trying to see out the favourable result and trying to keep clean sheets too often. And at the end of the day, the game's about scoring goals. Luckily in this first half we've seen a few really good ones across Europe. Speaking of really good goals, big goal in Bodo. I told you that something was happening between Bodo Glimt and Sporting. Well, Bodo Glimt have taken the lead from the penalty spot. I said there was a VAR check. Well, Sondre Fett has converted a penalty for Bodo, and they lead Sporting by 1-0. Big goal for the Norwegian side, who've already made their country's history. But can they be doing it again? They lead by 1-0. Marquinhos trying the fire ball forward, but far too narrow from the PSG captain there, right into the hands of Jorgensen. Keep an eye on this game as well. Doku up against Alexander-Arnold in Madrid. It's Manchester City trying to fight back from a 2-goal deficit at the moment. PSG try and retake the lead from a 1-all level score, although that's not going to help so, with Hakimi giving the ball away there. Now finding João Pedro. Come Chelsea. Caught out by William Pacho as he slipped there, João Pedro. Ball played down the left here for Barcola. Oh, just played it behind João Neves. Not on the same page there, those two. As Chelsea retrieve the ball and put under real immense pressure as Jorgensen just about gets it away. This as well another aspect of PSG's game that I really do enjoy watching is their pressing. The way they just were so intense. They were laser focused on making sure the goalkeeper kicked it long and they won it back as quickly as they could, and it's one of the real incredible parts of the game that Luis Enrique's instilled in this team. An intense press. Marquinhos, Hakimi, now Dembele trying to flick it in behind for the running Marquinhos, but João Neves couldn't get on the end of it. And now here come Chelsea with Neto, but Safonov takes no unnecessary risks there and keeps it in play, but that might have been more dangerous than at first thought because they've given it away again, PSG. João Pedro battling, just about holding on to the ball, although commentator's curse strikes again. PSG back on the ball once more. Vitinha. Pacho to Nuno Mendes. Doué. Vitinha finds Dembele. Nice little 1-2 between him and Doué, and Dembele wins the corner out of Malo Gusto, although actually they've given a goal kick there actually. Malo Gusto with really strong defending, but does it come off the left boot of Malo Gusto? I thought it did, but officials said nope, just a goal kick. Now PSG have been a little bit all over the place with their consistency at home recently, albeit they've won three of their last 7 at home. It is quite unusual for PSG to really fail to win home games. It's one of their strong suits, their ability to really make this a real fortress, a tough place to go, the Parc des Princes. And defeats at home against Paris FC and Monaco more recently, and draws against Newcastle and Monaco as well. Make it a little bit less than a fortress as of recent. As I said, considering their form prior to this recent run, as Cole Palmer snuck into a decent space, and now PSG, with all the Chelsea players committed, are on the breakaway themselves. Here's Ousmane Dembele, gonna check past his man and find the net. Ousmane Dembele gives PSG the lead once again after Cole Palmer came desperately close to giving Chelsea a chance at one end. Right up the other, Ousmane Dembele is the one to slot home for Paris Saint-Germain, and they are the ones who take a 2-1 lead. Again, the speed of counter-attack, and it's, I mean, so many bodies committed forward for Chelsea and so high up the pitch. I mean, Ousmane Dembele is about 10 yards in his own half when he receives the ball, and it's does really well here. I said earlier about the quickness of feet, where he makes the defender think he's going one way and then spins back the other. He does exactly the same thing, makes Fofana think he's coming to his left, he works back to the right and just creates enough of a gap to have the shot, to squeeze it past Fofana and find a way in past Jorgensen. PSG 2, Chelsea 1. Masterclass in counter-attacking from PSG, but an absolute disaster class from Chelsea. I mean, how many players did they want to commit forward there, and albeit take risks and sometimes you get your rewards, but when you take huge risks like Chelsea did and leave so much space, I mean, more than half of the field was left between Ousmane Dembele and the goalkeeper. when he picked up the ball, and I mean, by that point you knew what was going to happen, and Ousmane Dembele made it happen. But from Chelsea's point of view, it's really naive defending. And again, being enticed by trying to score a goal yourself to take the lead at the Parc des Princes and all that brings with it. But it's all about being sensible, making sure that if there is any threat on the counter-attack from PSG, and I said it already this evening, they are killer in transition, PSG. And that second goal just goes to show how incredibly ruthless they are. As Moises Caicedo was brought down there by Desiree Doué. Now Chelsea on the back foot. And Manchester City could be on the end of one hell of a thumping in Madrid, because it is now 3-0 to Real Madrid, and we're only in the first half of the first leg of this game between these two teams. The flick by Brahim Diaz, and it's Fede Valverde to complete the hat-trick. I mean, what a first half hat-trick for Federico Valverde. Incredible for Real Madrid. Unbelievable. Manchester City being carved open for fun by Madrid. 3-0, and as I said, we're only in the first half of the first leg. Again, it's really poor defending for Manchester City. I mean, the man who scored 2 goals already is the man who's completely running free into the Manchester City box. I mean, it is criminal defending. I mean, the lack of defending is what's criminal. And Fede Valverde, rightfully, and I'm sure gloriously, scores an incredible first half hat-trick against Manchester City. 22 minutes between his first goal and his third goal for Fede Valverde. And Real Madrid lead 3-0 in the Bernabeu against Manchester City. Well, the home side's having it all their own way so far tonight. Bodo Glimt leading Sporting by a goal to 0 in Norway. PSG leading Chelsea by 2-1 in Paris. And Real Madrid with the ultimate lead, 3-0 up against Manchester City in Madrid. And we are only in the first half of these games. Incredible. Well, Pep Guardiola's had some tough days at Real Madrid before as Man City boss, and previously I'm sure as Barcelona boss, but I'm sure none will compare to what a torrid first half it has been there for Manchester City. And real risk of, if they don't improve, the tie could be done tonight. Never mind worry about next week in Manchester. Wow. Although between those two, never write either of the two of them off against the other, because I mean, you never know what's going to come next between those two teams. We've seen it so many times before. They've met so many times. They know each other so well over the last few years. I mean, never ever rule one or the other out. And remember, this is all caveated by the fact that Manchester City won in the Bernabeu back in December. So it is come as a bit of a shock in the fact that they do lead 3-0 Real Madrid. And that is the craziness of the battles between those two. And it looks like Manchester City are going to be beaten at the Bernabeu for the second successive time in the knockout stages of the Champions League against Real. The last time they played each other in the knockout stages at the Bernabeu, Real Madrid won 3-1 on the night. It was a 6-3 aggregate victory after they won 3-2 at the Etihad the week prior. But PSG having control. Here come Chelsea again. Pedro Neto chips back inside. Enzo Fernandez tried to force it through somewhere, but it was going nowhere. Cleared away by PSG. It was just the additional minute of added time. the end of the first half. Second goal in Bodo, and Bodo Glimt have doubled their lead against Sporting, and it is Ole Blomborg who has given Bodo Glimt a 2-goal lead against Sporting. And that is as the half-time whistle goes in Paris. It is PSG, the European champions, who lead against Chelsea, the so-called world champions. And it's been a up and down first half, you've got to say. It's been a very competitive, very close and well-fought first half, which saw Bradley Barcola give PSG the lead after 10 minutes. Malo Gusto then quite easily in the end found an equalizer for Chelsea before Ousmane Dembele give PSG the lead from the counter-attack towards the end of the first half. Half-time in Paris, it is PSG 2, Chelsea 1. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Champions League Live. Half-time in the three late games in tonight's action. And it is all well and good for the home teams in their respective games so far. But let's talk about last night's action before we get into tonight's action so far. It all started in Turkey. Galatasaray beating Liverpool by 1-0 there in Turkey, as I said. Mario Lemina with the only goal of the game coming early in that first half, giving Gala the lead. In Bergamo, Atalanta were beaten 6-1 by Bayern Munich, so a comfortable victory for the German side there. Stanisic, Olise, and Gnabry with the 3 goals in the first half. Jackson, Olise got a second of the night for the 5th. Musiala with the 6th. And a late consolation for Mario Pasalic got Atalanta a goal back, but the damage is surely done in that tie. Also in Madrid last night, Spurs were on the end of a huge defeat away at Atleti, and that was only half the story, really, and we've seen all the discourse over the last over today, really, as what's happened. They were 4-0 down, Spurs, after 22 minutes. Marcus Llorente, Antoine Griezmann, Julian Alvarez and Robin Lenormand, the 4 scorers. But just before that 4th goal, Vicario was brought on for Kinski, a goalkeeping substitution for Spurs after just 17 minutes. Meant it was... it was going to get worse for Spurs. They did get a goal of their own before half-time, Pedro Porro giving them a consolation. Julian Alvarez then got a second of the night to make it 5-1 for Atleti before Dominic Solanke got the second consolation for Spurs. But who knows if they can conjure up an atmosphere come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next week. It will be a tough task, but if they can, who knows. It will be tough for Newcastle, who thought they'd stolen a big victory over Barcelona last night, but a late Lamine Yamal penalty cancelled out Harvey Barnes' goal that was expected to be the winner. A 1-1 draw there between Newcastle and Barca. Then back to tonight's action. And a final score in Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen also thought they were going to get a big victory to take to the Emirates with them next week. Robert Andrich with the goal just at the start of the second half gave Leverkusen the lead. But a Kai Havertz penalty then levelled it for Arsenal. And I got to say, Arsenal are very, very lucky, because that was never a penalty, but sometimes luck goes for you, and ultimately they get the luck of the draw, and they get the draw, shall I say, and they take it back to the Emirates next week. 1-1 it has finished there. Half-time in the 3 late games, as I said, Bodo Glimt 2 up against Sporting. The penalty opened the scoring for Bodo Glimt. Sondre Fett with the goal after 32 minutes. And just before half-time, Ole Blomborg doubled Bodo's lead. They lead the Portuguese side, Sporting, by 2-0. In our game, it's PSG 2, Chelsea 1. Bardi Barcola on the score sheet after just 10 minutes, giving the European champions the breakthrough. Balagusto then levelled for Chelsea on 28 minutes to make it 1-1 before Ousmane Dembele on the 40th minute with a cracking counter-attacking goal gave PSG the lead. Once again, it is 2-1 in Paris, and it is even better for Real Madrid in Madrid. They are 3-0 up, all via a Fede Valverde hat-trick in the first half. Valverde with all 3 goals, and then Real Madrid running riot against Manchester City. So, if all the scores stay as they are, only 2 English teams out of the 6 that are in the Champions League round of 16, only 2 of them would take a levelled score into their second leg, and none of them would take a lead back to the second leg with them. And I gotta say, the 4 teams that are losing, that have lost or are losing right now, are all going to be at home in the second leg. Arsenal will take a level score to their game at home in the second leg, and Newcastle will take a level score to Barcelona next week. So it is not going all well for Europe's most represented country in the round of 16. And at the moment, it is advantage to the home sides. Only 1 away win so far this midweek. That was Bayern Munich away at Atalanta. All the rest have been draws or currently stand as home victories. Big second half to come, though, in all 3 games that we're watching tonight, and certainly a very close battle in Paris. Second half on the way next. Welcome back to Champions League Live. Second half at the Parc des Princes on the way in just a moment, but a quick look at the bracket once again. Of course, the winners of this tie that we're watching in Paris tonight, PSG Chelsea, will play the winners of Galatasaray Liverpool in the quarterfinals. The winners of Real Madrid Manchester City will play either Atalanta or Bayern Munich. On the other side of the bracket, Newcastle against Barcelona. The winners of that will play the winners of Atletico Madrid Spurs, and the winners of Bodo Glimt Sporting will face the team that progresses between Bayer Leverkusen and Arsenal. Of course, a couple of all-English ties could be happening in the quarterfinals. Liverpool-Chelsea is a possible battle, and Newcastle-Spurs is an also battle, although I don't know about that one. It's a little bit more far-fetched. But English teams with a lot of work to do, you got to say, in their respective ties. And so far tonight, two English teams that we're watching right now have deficits in European capital cities. Chelsea 2-1 down in Paris, Manchester City 3-0 down in Madrid. And they don't need to win tonight, either of those two teams, but at least try and cut the deficit and make sure they're well within the fight come this day, 6 days time, to try and fight to progress. Difficult places to go, the Parc des Princes and the Bernabeu, but at the moment Chelsea and Manchester City are not thriving on the road. PSG, the European champions for a reason, and they don't want to give up their trophy too easily. And they're making Chelsea have to work hard for any sort of result they might come away with here tonight, as we're back underway. And a familiar scoreline, as I said, that PSG know well against Chelsea in the Champions League. The last two knockout games both ended 2-1, including the 2-1 here at the Parc des Princes back in February of 2016. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Edinson Cavani with the 2 goals, either side of Jean-Obi Mikel's equalizer for Chelsea. So very similar to tonight's game in the reverse fixture of that. Similar outfit. PSG took the lead through Adrien Rabiot. Diego Costa levelled for Chelsea before Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored the game winner and ultimately secured the tie for PSG, who in that season went on to face Man City in the quarterfinals, lose that, and City were to play Real Madrid in the semis. They lost that. Madrid were the eventual winners against Atletico in the final that season. Very different looking Champions League back then. We Dinamo Kiev, Wolfsburg, Ghent got into the knockouts. Arsenal were there. They got thumped by Barcelona though in the round of 16. Zenit St. Petersburg, Benfica, PSV Eindhoven, all amongst the teams that were in the knockout stages all the way back then in 2016. And Europe's elite has slightly shifted, but still the old guard remain, and Real Madrid very much still at the top of European football. Oh my goodness me. Nico O'Reilly has had just an unbelievable opportunity for Man City from a corner, back post, unmarked, and he gets contact to this. Keeper has no chance, hits the side netting. That should be 3-1. Or maybe it's just not Man City's night in Madrid. Their luck is not with them. Here come PSG. Hakimi. Vitinha will win the corner though. Actually not. Again, that looked like a corner. No, it's definitely a goal kick. Long kick by Jorgensen. Header won by João Pedro, but Safonov will come and clean it away from danger. Well, Chelsea have only won 2 of their 8 Champions League matches against PSG, drawn 3 and lost 3. They've only lost more games against Bayern Munich and Barcelona than PSG in the competition. They've lost to Bayern and Barca 4 times each, and PSG, of course, has said 3. Tonight could equal that record if they fall to defeat in Paris. And PSG have progressed from their last 3 Champions League knockout ties against English opposition. All of them were last season, as I said. Liverpool in the last 16, Villa in the quarterfinals, and Arsenal in the semi-finals, en route to winning the competition. Palmer breaks past João Neves. He's covering at left back here. Palmer spinning his way through, and João Neves with a really clean tackle puts it behind for a Chelsea corner. Yeah, Cole Palmer, tricky feet there. João Neves, not a left back, but he did a really good job. He slid in really well to get the ball away from Palmer and put it behind for the corner. Chelsea given another push to find their second equaliser of the night. Corner taken short. Cucurella. Neto trying to work the angle here, Chelsea. Palmer feed it across midfield. Out to the left. All the way back it comes out. Gusto couldn't find a way through. Again, pointless corner. Absolutely pointless. Ball switched down, brought down by Pedro Neto. Trying to dribble his way through. Neto run into Willian Pacho. But now, no way through for PSG again as Chelsea retrieve the ball around about the halfway line. Enzo Fernandez finds João Pedro, reversing it in behind for the run of Pedro Neto, but well seen out by Marquinhos. Yeah. He's seen it all, done it all. 31-year-old Marquinhos. The Brazilian's been at PSG for the last 13 years, since July of 2013. Bought for 27 million and has been on to become one of their best centre-backs, and still to this day reigns supreme at the back for PSG. Played one of his most lucrative seasons last season in terms of games played. It was his second most appearances for PSG last season. 42 in one campaign. 2 previous campaigns where he reached 44. Scored 3 goals as well last season, albeit none of them in the Champions League, though. Marquinhos, much more than just worried about scoring goals. Trying to keep them out of his own net has been quite good at over the last decade or so. Hakimi, Doué, Hakimi back to the midfield now. Dembele dropped really deep there to get involved in play. Mendes, João Neves, Vitinha, back to Achraf Hakimi now. Marquinhos, who couldn't return it to Warren Zaire-Emery that time wide. Singing his praises and he makes a mistake. We haven't really talked about Chelsea's defence tonight. They've taken a lot of dangerous risks, and that was another one, but Reece James comes away with the ball. They have been turned inside and out when PSG have really turned it on against the Chelsea centre-backs. Well, Wesley Fofana and Trevor Chalobah sometimes been passengers to whatever's been happening in front of them. To say the best Chelsea defender so far, I'd argue, has been Malo Gusto, who's done the best bit of attacking for Chelsea, and he's found that goal. Offside flag up here against João Pedro. It's going to break apart that whole spell of possession. Well, they wanted a foul by William Pacho, but the offside flag was up. Right, 8 minutes gone of the second half here in Paris. 9 minutes gone of the second half in Madrid. Still we stand at the scorelines we did at half time, and the same in Bodo as well. Here's Marquinhos. Makibi back to Marquinhos. Pacho. He's pulled through to Bradley Barker, who comes a little deeper into midfield. Lays it off now to Nuno Mendes, who does really well with his body control there and feeds it back out to Bradley Barkalow on the left. Now back across. Dembele left it. Fallen out to the right hand side for Hakimi, who tried the cross, but cleared away by Trevor Chalobah. Again, really fluid from PSG. Really comfortable. Just weren't able to get a cross in on that occasion from Achraf Hakimi, but the approach play was really quite measured. At the same time, still quite exciting for PSG. Marquinhos. Ball comes out to Achraf Hakimi down the touchline. 1-2 link up. Zaire Emery to Doué. Back to Ousmane Dembele. Doué couldn't find Zaire Emery as Cucurella tried to clear it. Claims it was off the hand of Zaire Emery, who blocked, and the assistant spotted it. It was handball, and it is a Chelsea free kick. Well, it's an electric atmosphere in Madrid, and I don't actually know what's happened in Madrid. And I do know now, because a penalty has been given to Real Madrid. So Manchester City's night looks to be going from bad to worse. It's Vinicius Jr. I think it's Donnarumma that's given away the penalty, because he's been given a yellow card. I didn't quite see the incident, but penalty to Real Madrid, and they could be 4-0 up here after just 57 minutes of the first leg. Vinicius Jr. against Gianluigi Donnarumma. We have a stoppage in our game at the moment anyway, so not missing much there. Vinicius Jr. Oh, good save by Donnarumma. Big save to his left hand side. Keeps it at 3-0. Here comes Doué, bursting past Chalobah. Doué into the box, and the cover there from Caicedo, I think that was, came across, making sure Desiree Doué wasn't getting any further. But the sheer pace there from Doué left Trevor Chalobah in the dust, and yeah, it was Moises Caicedo with the deflection, and it bounces back off Doué, who could do nothing about it, and goes for a goal kick. Incredible. Well, big missed opportunity for Real Madrid to make it 4-0, albeit 3-0 is not a bad scoreline either. Oh, Doué caught a little out there by Pedro Neto, but it was a poor ball, and Pedro Neto's in here for Chelsea. He cuts it across, and it's 2-2. Enzo Fernandez firing past Safonov, and Chelsea are back level again. It was a crossfield ball that was mismeasured, miscontrolled, and completely poorly defended. Desiree Doué was out on his own in that right flank, and Chelsea break down the left, and the cut back to Enzo Fernandez in the box, who swept onto it first time. Again, that crossfield ball. I mean, it's difficult for Doué. He's in a tough spot, but fabulous from Pedro Neto down the left. Puts it into a perfect spot for Enzo Fernandez to stride onto it and just tuck it in with the right foot into the far corner. PSG 2, Chelsea 2. This is one great Champions League battle, and is twisting and turning right the way throughout tonight. An absolute goal fest in Paris, and we still have over a half an hour to play. Enzo Fernandez, who got the assist for the first, is the man who finds the net for the second for Chelsea. What a cracking game. 2-2, 58 minutes gone. Proper Champions League battle, this. But again, it's the danger, and listen, it's nothing too uncommon with PSG. It's very PSG. They commit Achraf Hakimi so far up that ultimately the winger becomes the fullback and takes on two roles, really, defensively. And that's the risk they take, but more often than not it gets them many's a reward, as Achraf Hakimi, one of the best attacking fullbacks in football. But that's the risks you take when you leave him 20 yards higher up the field in a normal fullback position. You leave yourself a little bit loose and open at one end, and albeit Desiree Doué was there, he isn't a natural defender, and ultimately Pedro Neto, take nothing away from him, it was incredible. But it's an unnecessary goal to give away for PSG, and an easily avoidable goal. Despite coming out in the second half and wanting to show a bit of control, PSG, it's Chelsea who've been able to benefit from the early run-ins in the second period, and they're the ones that have got the fourth goal of the night. Remember, as I said, if a team can come away from their away leg with a level score, at least, and none more impressive than a level score after going to the Parc des Princes, Chelsea will certainly see themselves as favourites heading back to Stamford Bridge in 6 days' time. If it ends 2-2 or level of some sort, win and you're through, basically. Simple as that. And of course, PSG were meant to have league action this week, but their game against Nantes has been rescheduled to later in the season to accommodate for PSG to have as much recovery time and as much time as possible between these two tight first and second legs, 6 days between them. To try and squeeze a league game in would be a bit forceful, and the league have rescheduled it, so PSG have the weekend off. Contrastingly, Chelsea have a tough Premier League game against a fellow Champions League team in Newcastle at Stamford Bridge on Saturday night. So a relentless schedule for Chelsea means they're going to have a tougher next few days of it, but they will feel immensely kind of positive about the fact that they come away with a draw out of PSG away from home. I mean, that's a wonderful result, and as expected, PSG going to make some changes, and it's going to be just the one for the moment. Desiree Doué is going to be replaced by Kvaratskhelia. It's Kvaratskhelia on to replace the young Frenchman who shone in that Champions League final, Desiree Doué. Absolutely fabulous in that Champions League final, and an incredible performance from him. Scored 2 of the 5 goals in the final. 2 goals and an assist for Desiree Doué in a Champions League final is quite a feat. He's been replaced by Kvaratskhelia. Some fresh legs in attack for PSG. They have just kind of lost a little bit of intensity higher up the field. Albeit neither side have really fired a hatful of chances. I mean, 6 shots to Chelsea's 7. I mean, 13 shots in total between the two sides. It's not They're not peppering the other's goal, but when they do, they time it right. I mean, 9 shots on target from the 13 shots in total, so they're doing something right, these two teams, when they do get into the final third. And they're scoring quite often too, of course, as we've already seen, but it's more of a game of accuracy rather than, you know, quality over quantity. And I'm sure PSG and Luis Enrique will want to see more from as a team in an attacking sense. After, even before the second goal, I mean, after their first, they kind of tapered off, PSG, to about 20-25 minutes and weren't really running right. Here's Barcola, still got all the energy as he did right from the off, but this time Wesley Fofana measured it well. And Malo Gusto was in cover as well. Cole Palmer. Challenged well there by João Neves. PSG in business. Well, they were for a second. Kvaratskhelia has to just keep it alive for the moment. Plays it back to Vitinha. Kvaratskhelia down the left. Spins away from his man and then runs into Wesley Fofana. João Pedro under pressure. João Neves does really well. Gets it back to William Pacho, who will recycle for PSG. A little bit more intense. Still 3-0 to Real Madrid in Madrid. Oh, and Vinicius Jr. has just curled one just wide of the right post. So they're still pushing for more, Real. And they've actually taken a leap forward since they missed their penalty around about just short of 10 minutes ago, when Vinicius Jr.'s penalty was saved by Gigi Donnarumma. Real Madrid have continued to throw opportunities at the Man City goal to try and find that fourth. City trying to hang on at the moment to make sure this doesn't end up being a complete one-sided embarrassment on the road. Nuno Mendes. To João Neves, who gives it back to Safonov. Now Marquinhos. Flicks it forward. Nicely held up by Kvaratskhelia. Finds Vitinha in the half space, who feeds it wide down the right hand side for Achraf Hakimi. Better from PSG. Here's Ousmane Dembele. Back to Hakimi. Hakimi tiptoeing towards the edge of the box. Plays it back to Dembele. We'll have to give it out wide again to Hakimi, who gets a step on Cucurella, cuts back inside, but runs into white shirts in his way as it was recycled by Pacho. PSG on the move again and penning Chelsea in. Kvaratskhelia, Vitinha, Barcola couldn't poke it through and Nuno Mendes couldn't retrieve it. Barcola's ball a little heavy. It will go behind, I think, for a goal kick. Did that actually go behind or not? It actually didn't. Oh, it did. It did. It looked like from the reverse angle that it didn't go fully behind and would have went out for a throw, but it did go behind for a goal kick. Again, the bounce of the ball drops for PSG. Dembele trying to hold it up, but out-muscled by Trevor Chalobah. And now good from João Pedro to hold off his man. Feeds the ball wide to Pedro Neto. Down the left-hand side, a quarter of the game to go. Here in Paris, PSG 2, Chelsea 2. A scoreline Chelsea will be very welcome to take back to Stamford Bridge. As Wesley Fofana well closed down now by Bradley Barcola. A fair battle. As more movement from the PSG bench. Going to see Lee Kang in, getting himself ready. So a bit of a readjustment in midfield for PSG incoming. After they made a bit of an adjustment in the attacking line with Kvaratskhelia coming on a few minutes ago. Pedro Neto valiantly trying to keep the ball in play there, but faltering in doing so. And before PSG take the throw, that sub will come. So, going to see the end of the night for Ousmane Dembele, who scored the second PSG goal tonight. Dembele on the score sheet with a beautiful counter-attack that ended in a goal. And Lee Kang-in is his replacement. The Korean midfielder, 25 years old, comes in for PSG. He set up the winner for PSG in the 1-0 win over Le Havre at the end of February, and also scored in a 5-0 victory against Marseille here, Lee, back in February as well. So not too quiet when it comes to goal-mouth action, albeit though yet to record a goal or an assist in the Champions League this season, albeit only played 213 minutes in the league, or in the Champions League all season. Here is Marquinhos. Vitinha. Back to Pacho. Plays it out to the left for João Neves. Back to Willian Pacho. Marquinhos. Just over 20 minutes to go. PSG 2, Chelsea 2. Chelsea with the only goal of the second half. Enzo Fernandez tying the game up for the second time for Chelsea on the night, after PSG took the lead twice. A valiant away performance so far from Chelsea. I have to say, in this second half they've adjusted well, Chelsea, to just close PSG out of any real threat and suffocate them really in their own half. And Malo Gusto does well there to win a free kick of Bradley Barcola. Now, since losing 2-1 to PSG in March of 2016, Chelsea have won all 6 of their Champions League games against French clubs, 4 times against Lille and twice against Rennes in the 6 against French opposition since that 2016 game against the Parisians. Chelsea boss Liam Rosenior will be the 16th manager to see his first knockout stage game in the UEFA Champions League come against the reigning champions. Of the previous 15, only 1 of those has been victorious. Ralf Rangnick in April 2011 as Schalke boss. He beat Inter 5-2 in the quarter-final first leg. Five draws and 9 defeats from the other 14 managers taking charge of their first Champions League game against the reigning champions. So Liam Senior might join a very exclusive list if Chelsea can pull off an unbelievable away victory. And you got to say, with PSG's recent home form, I don't think you could really rule that out of being a possibility. And with options off the bench for Liam Senior, there is threat to use. He hasn't gone to his bench just yet. Got Garnacho, Delap, Guiu, Lavia, Santos at Champon. More on a more defensive role, but there are options there if he wants to go to his bench to try and use. Marquinhos actually rolled the ball out of play and is deep towards his own corner flag there, so puts his own team under a bit of pressure. João Pedro was the one that was pressing him. That's one Chelsea are throwing very high up the field here. It's down this left-hand side. Lovely from Pedro Neto. Drops it for the shot. Blocked at the back post by Nuno Mendes. Up against Malo Gusto, who was threatening again there for Chelsea. Caicedo recycles it well to find Cucurella. With a little 1-2, Cucurella. Enzo Fernandez. Back it goes to Malo Gusto, who watched it well. Here's Jorgensen. Oh, what a mistake! He's given it away. Kvaratskhelia. João Neves chips the goalkeeper, and PSG are back in front. We saw a London club make multiple mistakes through their goalkeeper last night to falter. Well, Philip Jorgensen has made a howler of a horrible moment. Hits it right at the man, closing him down. I think it might have been Bradley Barcola. Gave it away. Kvaratskhelia played it to Vitinha, who is the man to lob the goalkeeper and give PSG the advantage again. I mean, it's fabulous from Vitinha, but woeful from Philip Jorgensen. Plays it right to Bradley Barcola. Kvaratskhelia receives it off the bounce, and as he plays it back to Vitinha, the audacious effort from Vitinha to give Paris Saint-Germain the lead. PSG 3, Chelsea 2, and after Chelsea have arguably been the better team in the second half, but those are the types of things you cannot legislate for. Goalkeeping errors, and that is a howler from Philip Jorgensen. PSG 3, Chelsea 2, and that is Vitinha's 6th goal in the Champions League this season. And that one was a gift. Signed, sealed and delivered by Philip Jorgensen on a plate for the European champions to once again, for the 3rd time tonight, take the lead against Chelsea. All from nothing. And now PSG want another to really take it away from Chelsea. Kvaratskhelia next towards the box. Oh, jinks past his man under pressure, stays on his feet under the challenge, and Fofana has to bundle it behind for a corner. Kvaratskelia's endeavour there to not give up on it, even when Malo Gusto should have had it covered, is immeasurable endeavour. And now he wins his side of corner as well. And now PSG are going to their bench again. It looks like, is it Luca Hernandez going to be coming on, and I expect, as Lee is going to take this corner. Left footed delivery, drops down into the area, off the foot of João Neves, right into the hands of Philip Jorgensen. Speaking of 3 goals, now all 3 home teams have scored 3, because Bodo Glimt have added a third of their own to their tally. They're now 3-0 up against Sporting, and it is Kasper Haug, who is set up by Jens Petter Hauge, and Hauge combine to give Bodo Glimt a 3-0 lead against Sporting. Bodo Glimt, look at them, fabulous. They were 3-1 winners in their first leg at home against Inter in the Champions League. They won the return leg 2-1 at San Siro, and now in their next Champions League game they're leading 3-0 against Sporting. If that ends in a win tonight for Bodo, that will be 5 Champions League wins in a row, and the opponents they've faced in those victories are quite mouth-watering. Incredible. Bodo Glimt 3-0 to the good. Incredible. Well, they're a team no one wants to face, and if they win that tie, they will face either Arsenal or Leverkusen in the quarter-finals. Well, no one rule out Bodo Glimt. Goodness. 12.5 minutes to go here in Paris. PSG 3, Chelsea 2. Barcola, Dembele and Vitinha the PSG scorers, and Gusto and Enzo Fernandez the 2 Chelsea scorers. Here come Chelsea to try and do what they've done all night, is peg back PSG. Well shielded there by Marquinhos, who steps out from his defence to pressure Pedro Neto. And Caicedo wrestling, as was Reece James. They just about keep the ball, Chelsea. As I said, still yet to go to his bench, Liam Rosenior. I think now he's about time, if he just brings on some fresh legs, just to carry Chelsea over the line here. You know, even a 1-goal deficit they would take really at this stage, Chelsea. Albeit will be very disappointed with how that third PSG goal came about, but they'll lick their wounds and go back to Stamford Bridge with just a 1-goal deficit against the European champions. Wouldn't be too shabby a result. Or some fresh legs to try and find that third to level it again. PSG are vulnerable here. Yeah, the flag's going to go up. I'm not really going to mention this. I mean, Neto across. It is into the back of the net from João Pedro, but the flag's up. I think PSG knew the flag was up. He does find the net, João Pedro, but the flag was up. Enzo Fernandez coming back from an offside position. This should be disallowed. It should stay as 3-2. Yeah, he's just a yard offside there, Enzo. But I gotta say, if he drops back a half yard, stays onside, that would be 3-3, and that would be, as I said, PSG still vulnerable. So this game's not done and dusted, but I think he's just offside, Enzo Fernandez. Well, VAR, of course, have to check it, make sure that it was all correct. And the decision stands, offside. So no goal, 3-2, it remains. Well, a reminder for you, big Premier League action the weekend, Sunday afternoon. Look at this for a fixture. Two teams who've underperformed massively this season, but will they be able to claim some big results? Spurs in a relegation battle, Liverpool chasing Champions League football qualification for next season. They meet at Anfield Sunday, 4:30. You won't want to miss that here on LFS. Hakimi there going to be penalised for a push in the back of Wesley Fofana. Going to get Chelsea a free kick in their own half. And as we see the confirmation of the offside, Enzo Fernandez quite clearly. I mean, his whole body is offside, so that shows you. Long clearance by Jorgensen. Not playing out the back right now, is he? I mean, again, it's been a very high quality game. I mean, 10 shots on target all night, 5 goals. I mean, for half of your shots on target to end up in the back of the net is a pretty good scoring ratio, that. It's quite high. Here come PSG again. Any more advantage, and they're very much excited about the second leg. Although Kavika Kvaratskhelia, little did he try. Oh, well, Cole Palmer trying to give a bit to the Georgian, but yeah, throw into Chelsea just. Now, PSG are the top-ranked team in the Champions League this season for average possession, just under 70%. And highest for build-up attacks per game, 7.3. Highest for pass completion rate under high-intensity pressure, just under 86%. So when you press them, you're in danger. When they can build up quickly, you're in danger. And when you give them all the ball, you're very much in danger. Albeit Chelsea have given everything they've got against PSG tonight. They've held them to just 58% possession, which is below their usual rate. And they've given them less shots than Chelsea, which is quite a remarkable feat considering that PSG are the home side. And their pass completion rate, I don't actually know exactly the number, but it would be quite high, I would suspect. As Chelsea go to their bench for the first time tonight. Some movement for Liam Rosenior and some changes to try and help his team to not only hold on to this scoreline but also try and benefit. Try and find another goal from somewhere. They feel that PSG are still here for the taking. By the way, a little earlier, PSG did make changes after that second goal. Senemayulu and Luca Hernandez both on to replace Sarah Emery and Barcola. Here comes Liam Delap, just on the field for his first action. Fires a shot well wide of goal, but creating a threat against William Pacho. Yeah, struck it well wide. Delap on for João Pedro and Romeo Lavia on for Cole Palmer. So a bit of a readjustment for Liam Rosenior. Ashraf Hakimi. Bit of pressure there. Down that right hand side. PSG couldn't break out that time. Just a throw will come. And you gotta say, Chelsea will be kicking themselves though if it ends 3-2 here tonight. Considering that the goal that they have conceded is, that third goal they've conceded is all of their own doing really. Self-inflicted wound. Oh, that's lovely from Kvaratskhelia. Dug out that pass to Barcola. And now Lee finds Hakimi. Cuts it back to Vitinha. Still alive. Hakimi down the right for Vitinha. Ashraf Hakimi. Vitinha, Hakimi again. Beautiful little 1-2. But Hakimi ultimately dispossessed after a bit of back and forth between him and Vitinha. Chelsea win it back. Only for a split second there was Reece James was too hesitant on the ball and Barcola wins it back. Lee. Nevish. Vitinha. Pacho feeds it out to Kvaratskhelia down the left. PSG in business again here. Kvaratskhelia. He's going to go for goal! Oh! What a goal! Beautiful. Kvaratskhelia taken by PSG have a fourth, and Kvaratskhelia with a absolute perler to break Chelsea hearts and to give PSG a 2-goal advantage. For the first time tonight, PSG have a 2-goal lead, and Kvaratskhelia with a beautiful curling effort. Trademark Kvaratskhelia. And again, it all comes back to winning the ball back, recycling, patience from PSG. But when they break forward, when they have the intensity of what they want to do, and you have to say, Kvaratskhelia knows exactly what he's going to do here, and he delivers absolutely wonderfully. A screamer of a goal, and Chelsea will feel high on earth as this game got away from them. Because in this second half, as I said, they've probably played better football, they've probably been the better team. But when it comes to the European champions, they're in that position for a reason. And that's because, I said a little earlier, when you give them a sniff, you do not want to lose concentration. You do not want to give them a chance because they will take it. They are ruthless, PSG. And now, they want to be even more ruthless. There's still time in this for another. That's their thinking. And Kvaratskhelia is charging forward. Reece James drops to the ground. Still going, and the cutback is sliced wide by, I think that was Mayulu. I don't know if Reece James went down under a foul that the referee had given, but Kvaratskhelia was all over it in the cutback, and he has given the foul, and Kvaratskhelia got a yellow card. I mean, that's really harsh. Really harsh. Really harsh, I have to say. So Alejandro Garnacho is going to come on for Malo Gusto for the Dying Embers. And a game that was going so well for Chelsea at the start of the second half when Enzo Fernandez found their leveller. And they were arguably the team that probably should have went on to push for the next goal, but they gifted PSG a third, and when you gift teams like PSG opportunities, you're going to pay the price. And just individual class and brilliance from Kavika Kvaratskhelia has given PSG a fourth, and it looks like they're going to be the ones romping home with a victory and with a lead to take to West London next week. The English side right up against it. At 2-2, it was very much in Chelsea's hands. At 3-2, we could say, yeah, it's only one goal. But 4-2 is a much more daunting prospect. A 2-goal deficit to try and overturn. Score 3 clear goals without reply is one hell of a tough task. But if you want to beat the best, or you have to beat, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. If Chelsea want to do some amazing things in this competition this season, they're going to have to find their best form, their most ruthless, my words tonight, their most ruthless form against PSG next week at Stamford Bridge. Because if you're going to dethrone the European champions, you're going to have to give yourself a real good audition and a real good reason. Oh my goodness, calamitous defending again, PSG in again, and they've slotted home Lee Kang in. It's going to be offside though. I mean, calamitous defending here from Chelsea, what on earth. I mean, Philip Jorgensen plays it into Caicedo, but yeah, the flag's going to go up. Yeah, very lucky. Enzo Fernandez is fuming at his goalkeeper. Fuming, and is saying, why are you playing that ball when we're under pressure? Did you not learn from the last one? And I completely agree. I mean, it's a terrible ball by the goalkeeper. Playing it straight into a midfield while PSG are pressing. I mean, it's suicidal. Suicidal. 3 additional minutes, by the way, at the end of this one. Just into the first couple of seconds of that. Here at the Parc des Princes. And Chelsea a little bit fortunate not to be 3 goals down here after another risky move from the Chelsea goalkeeper. If they can snatch another one here though, Chelsea, they could turn the tide a little bit in this tie. Oh, what's happened here? The ball boy's gone down in the sidelines. I don't know what's happened there, where that's come about from. And now it's all kicked off. The ball boy's the one that's gone down. The referee blew the whistle right away. I don't actually know what's happened. Chelsea were getting the throw, and somehow the ball boy is the one that's been hurt here. I don't actually know what's happened. Both players are just going all at it. I mean, why are they all going at each other here? What has actually happened? I would like to see a replay. I think possibly Pedro Neto has pushed the ball boy in trying to get the ball back. And I think that's what's caused the whole ruckus here. But there's no room, no space, no excuse for that. I can understand he's trying to rush to get the ball, but there's no need to push a ball boy and be aggressive like that. There's no need whatsoever. He does apologise, but see it again here. I mean, the ball boy, yeah, there's no need for that. No excuse for that whatsoever. No, there's no excuse for that. Well, VAR were checking for a possible red card. I think they are still looking at this VAR. I mean, Pedro Neto, I can understand from his point of view why he's frustrated, but at the same time, you just can't do that. I understand the ball boy is going to throw the ball away and play all antics, but the ball's not in play. The referee should have stopped the match anyway, the clock, so the time won't be affected. I mean, it's all part of the play of the game. If Chelsea were at home, their ball boy would do the same thing to PSG, so there's no excuse for that whatsoever. I mean, we've seen it countless times, ball boys just withholding the ball from the opponent to help their team, and listen, it happens, but there's no excuse for Pedro Neto just being too aggressive there. Completely unnecessary. PSG are away again here. Chelsea might pay the price even more dangerously here because they could be a danger once more. Ball across, Kvaratskhelia! 5-2. Jorgensen couldn't keep that one out. He probably should have, but he didn't. And Kvaratskhelia on the double. And PSG have 5. And this is going to be one hell of an Everest-like mountain for Chelsea to try and climb come the second leg. The European champions. It took them a while to get alive, but when they have been awoken, you will pay the price of the European champions. And again, it's in transition. Chelsea look so hapless defensively. Just quick possession down the right-hand side, 1-2 passes. And Chelsea are carved open at the seams. Achraf Hakimi with the ball across. The first time he's done that all night. First time he's had space to do it all night. And Kvaratskhelia sweeps onto it with the right foot into the far left corner. Philip Jorgensen should do better, but PSG have been rampant in the latter stages of this second half against Chelsea. And the Blues are going to be blue in the face heading back to Stamford Bridge, because the final whistle goes and Paris Saint-Germain are not giving this title up anytime soon from their standards and what they believe. Because what they have done tonight, albeit a very close tie right up until they were gifted a third, and that turned the tide. When you give and gift a team a goal, you pay the price. And PSG, I think Kvaratskhelia, with 2 incredible goals late in this game, has torn this away from Chelsea and very much in the advantage of PSG. A cracker, I have to say, in Paris. A game that was back and forth right until the hour mark, but after which PSG once again showed why they are the champions of Europe and why they will not be dethroned easily. Final score at the Parc des Princes, it's finished PSG 5, Chelsea 2. And just round up the other scores from the other 2 games as well. Real Madrid, through Fede Valverde's first half hat-trick, has given Real Madrid a 3-0 lead, 3-0 win over Manchester City to take to the Etihad next week. And Bodo Glimt, one of the surprise packages of the Champions League this season. They are 3-0 winners after the first leg against Sporting, and they are defeating teams for fun in the Champions League are the Norwegians, and they are 3-0 up, heading to Portugal next week, feeling they've got an incredible chance to get to the Champions League quarter-finals. Incredible. Full reminder of all of the scores as you can see on your screen. And English teams have it all to do next week. Liverpool 1-0 down, Spurs 5-2 down, Arsenal are level, Newcastle are level in there after their 1-1 draws, respective 1-1 draws. Chelsea are 5-2 down, and Real Madrid with a 3-goal lead. It's all to do for Manchester City, albeit 4 of those teams, or 5 of those teams shall I say, of the English sides will take their second leg at home, so we'll still believe they've got an ample chance, but 3 of them have to come from 3 goals down to try and find their way into the quarterfinals. That's going to be an incredibly tough task, but one we will look very excited to next week. I can tell you what's coming up next week. Next Tuesday night we will have the thrill of watching one of either, of course, Arsenal, Leverkusen, Chelsea, PSG, or Man City, Real Madrid. One of those 3 o'clock or those 8 o'clock kickoffs next Tuesday night, and next Wednesday night we will have the joy of concluding the tie at Anfield, Liverpool against Galatasaray. And Barcelona Newcastle is the early kickoff next Wednesday, so lots to look forward to. But that is it from us tonight. It has been an incredible night of Champions League action. 7 goals. We've been absolutely a joy to watch in Paris. As well, Real Madrid thumping City and Bodo Glimt continuing to be the surprise package of the Champions League this season. Thanks for your company. Good night.
It's supposed to feel.